for a quick Devar Torah. One of the interesting sidelights, if you will, in the Parsha is the command to the scouts is they should go and scout out the land. The word used, Lator, from where we get the word in modern Hebrew for tourist, which is the same root as Tayar, Latayal, Lator Ta'aretz, to scout out the land. And then the Parsha ends with the mitzvah of Tzitzit. And the key element in the mitzvah Tzitzit is Lo Taturu Acharei Levachem V'Acharei Nechem. Do not follow your lev and your heart and your eyes. Because if we look at what's going on with the scouts. Joshua and Caleb saw exactly what the other scouts saw. They all saw the same thing. Just that the lens they saw it through was totally different. Whereas the other scouts looked at it as, how can we overcome these problems? We're like grasshoppers to these people. The obstacles are insurmountable. Caleb and Joshua say, wait a minute, it's not insurmountable because you're forgetting something very important. We are following, God has told us to go to this land. If God wanted us to go to this land, then we can conquer it. The Torah is not a suicide pact. God does not want us to commit suicide. Therefore, then we can do it. But we have to have the faith that we can do it, and we have to take the initiative. The same thing with looking at your tzitzit. The tzitzit is supposed to remind you of the mitzvot. That you look at your tzitzit, it's supposed to remember all the mitzvot. And so this is something, again, the Torah is telling you, it all depends on what is the lens you're looking at things. If you're looking at things in a non-religious lens, that things just happen, everything happens by happenstance, then it's a different thing than if you say, you know what, God wants us to do certain things, and I have to look at it through that. There's a story that these Chabad women were at some convention about 20 years ago in Chicago. And they were supposed to return to New York. What? Amway? No, not Amway. There's something for the but they were supposed to be at this convention in Chicago. And among them was the wife of one of the secretaries of the Rebbe, who was alive at the time. And guys, be good. Allegedly still. Anyway, no, the point is that they're getting ready to leave Chicago after Shabbat, and there was a snowstorm. So they had to spend a few more days in Chicago. And the secretary of the Rebbe said, my wife is in Chicago, there was a snowstorm, she's stuck in Chicago. And the Rebbe said, stuck? Stuck? No Jew is ever stuck. If there's a snowstorm and they can't leave, God has a plan for them. They're there for a purpose. They should figure out what the purpose is and then do it. So what they did was they passed out Shabbat candles and Shabbat candle holders to a lot of women to give them the mitzvah of lighting candles for Shabbat. So, and years later, again, this one woman went back to Chicago and she discovered that the women she gave candles to were still lighting Shabbat candles simply because somebody gave them candles so many years ago. So that's the difference in looking at things through a lens. You could say, I'm stuck here, nothing I can do about it. Or you can say, if there's a snowstorm and I can't leave, it's part of God's plan. God controls the weather. Things don't happen by happenstance. In the Torah, there's no such thing as coincidence. Everything has a purpose. And that's the way we should look at these things. That when we look at our tzitzit, we should remember it's all through the lens that we look at things. Something to think about.